I'm Vinod. I'm part of ThoughtWorks. Been with ThoughtWorks for more than 15 years right now. Been involved in working with right from small startups to scale-ups to GCCs, India business owners. So I'm here to come here and present about what I learned by working with many of these companies and take like cross learning from one small company to the bigger one and the bigger one to the smaller one. Throughout the experiences, I had collected my notes. I repeatedly write blogs about it, and this is a collection of all the knowledge that I have got in the last few years. I don't know whether Henry Ford said this, but people ask like, do you ask your customers what do they want? And for which he replied that if I ask my customers, they will always say, I want faster horses. I don't want cars like that. That's the thing people. His idea about people was like people don't know what is like next in technology, or what they didn't have a deep understanding of what do they want to expect from the market. So if I say like what do my customers want, this is a very unanimous answer I get. Any guesses? AI is very new, but this is like last 5-6 years. It's been in the news also. Lots of Indian founders have been expressing this in various forums. What they say is they want longer working hours, because see that this is the only leverage they think that they have over the output they can produce. Why longer working hours? Because it's for a lot of service companies, it's translating directly to billable revenue. So you make people work the longer working hours, you bill the clients, you'll be able to get it. In product companies, it's a little different that people always see that because I'm paying a fixed amount of salary, I will be able to extract a lot of amount of work if people work longer hours. But it's not contributing to anything, and in terms of can I get more outcome out of it? Maybe some output they are able to see, I suppose, but I don't know whether the outcome is working for them. So during some of the conversations with the executives, I asked like, what do you want? Just in simple terms, I said like, I need things good, fast, cheap, and that's how I grow my company, I grow my revenue. And if you ask the developers, you pick only two, and you take this back to the executives and ask them, what do you want to pick? What do you want to compromise on out of these two, out of these three? They'll always say quality. Let me compromise on quality. Give me something fast and cheap. So people always have this wrong idea, and they actually go towards this one, remove off the quality aspect of it, and try to be really, really very fast, and then they end up creating really very fatigued teams. Why? Because taking a requirement and then fluently delivering onto production again and again and again, repeated fashion, they're not able to do it because they're always behind a very tight deadline. They want to deliver something immediately onto production. They don't know how it is. This is a mandate generally people get. I want this now. This is the deadline. You anyways go ahead and achieve it, without giving any idea of what is the intent behind it, what is the value it's going to generate, what stories are there. Just go and deliver. So it still works in smaller companies where the founders are in a founder mode. They know the value of the stories and they're able to take the decisions like what needs to go fast to production, what can wait, and they're also able to, some technical founders are also able to take technical decisions on it. But when the company grows, like from a small group, it becomes a tribe and it becomes a country, people are not able to scale these things. So even though they're not able to scale, the only thing they'll always stick to it is they want to do it fast. And if they want to do it fast, they'll actually end up doing clumsy work, because you are asking people to do it at any cost, come back and deliver this to me. So people always go with clumsiness. And if you ask to remove clumsiness, what can be done now? So you go to anyone and say like, I am having all these in place and people, all this mess in place, and people will say that your process is all very ad hoc, go for a level 5 certification. Sorry, this clicker is not working. I'll stand here near the podium and then go. So the level 5 certifications you go. So people will say, no, this Agile work, you cannot go for a level 5 kind of a certification. The certification is against the principles of it. So let's rename them. Call it an Agile framework, but follow the same thing. And this is what is happening throughout the industry, that you have lost whatever agility you had tried to bring it in. Now you're asking like, have a release train, put everything onto release train 2 months upfront, plan it, and then you deliver. Like, where is the agility here? So clumsy work is all gone. Your expediency suffers even more. You are no longer able to deliver anything fast. Then if you not able to get any leverage, right, then how do you actually expedite? You want to be fluent, but you also want to expedite. What will you do? My answer is definitely quality is the only leverage, but people are looking at the wrong quality always. What is the aspect of a quality, software quality, right? Two things come into play. One is the engineering quality and the other is the functional quality. Mostly people, when they say compromise on quality, they always say it's engineering quality you need to compromise on. But engineering quality should not be compromised. I'll come to it over the course of next slide. What you should actually compromise on is the functional quality. When I say functional quality, right, it's the scope. Scope, generally what happens, people are not willing to deliver something which is incomplete to production, right? Does anyone know what's the original version of Microsoft DOS, the precursor to Windows, or this operating system was called? It was called QDOS. This was a quick and dirty operating system. So that is what was asked, proposed in the Agile, or people who wrote the Agile manifesto. They're saying like, take unfinished work to the customer very often. Only then you will get it off. Don't compromise on engineering quality. Compromise on the product functional quality. Keep the engineering quality as it is. The moment you start compromising on engineering quality, things all go for a toss. You lose both your fluency and accuracy. So over the next course of slides, I'll just present what I have experienced and what has worked for me. And towards the end of the slide, I'll take questions on getting into more details. So I'm not going to say anything new. I'm just saying like, follow what has been told in the XP. So release often, keep talking to customers, understand whether what you built is right or wrong, and then keep the developers also up to the speed of what product is thinking. So taking the work in progress to customer, people are really very upfront. They don't want to take work in progress to customer. But large portions of companies which are really very successful are able to iterate on a weekly basis or a daily basis, right? Because nobody knows what the market wants. Even the best product manager or product owner, they will not be able to understand what the market wants. So they have to roll up the information. Things have to evolve. And the evolution speed is your deployment speed. So unless you take work in progress to customer, you will not be able to take it. With the current set of tools standing at 2025, you can start something in the morning, deploy to production in the evening, and still we are not doing that. We are like waiting for a lot of things to happen so that we can take it to production. From drawing board to production, we can go within a few days. The biggest problem we see is the impedance mismatch between product and system. Product wants to write a PRD. They wanted to throw it over the wall to the UX team. UX team wants to build up a very nice looking clickable prototypes, and that they wanted to give it to developers. Developers have to build it in a very short amount of time, deliver to production, and then you want to learn from the feedback. In this course, right, nobody asks the developer what is the feasibility of this product. Can I actually use this? Can I deliver it faster? And developers are not supposed to ask a lot more questions because it's affecting the cycle time for delivery. So you have to reduce the mismatch by having a design exercise together. I see there is a design sprint session in the next 1 or 2 days, right? I was one of the guys who did that in Recruiter Boxes from Sprint, Google Ventures Sprint book we have taken it. So we were able to design, like start the design work on a Friday, and by Wednesday or Thursday, we were able to take something very new to production. So by doing this, what happens? We were able to estimate on the fly, saying that when the product owner and the designer are working and then saying like, I want this page to work like this, the developers will ask question and then say, I have a different way to do it. And we were able to come up with multiple iterations then and there, and even a prototype and show it to the customers. And so one of the outputs that came in this design session was we were revamping a profile page for a user, and we were able to send the profile page, which is work in progress, directly to the end customer with a toggle button saying we are developing a new profile page. Do you want to see and then give us feedback? So to our surprise, almost everyone opened up the new profile page getting built. They provided us feedback on the fly. We provided text boxes there. They gave the feedback. We collected it, and we were able to get a working profile page much faster than anyone. People all think Kanban is like a system, right? I had a brief lesson in Japanese. Kanban means it's a signboard. So when people say Kanban, it's just a signboard. It's a visible place. With the remote work, what we were not able to make it was, it was very visible when I was in the office prior to 2020. Everything was on the wall. I was able to see at a grasp what is upcoming work for me, what is the work in progress, and what needs to be delivered. Right now, we have to use tools like Miro or Mural. Only then this was possible for us to visualize what is there in the pipeline. Without that, it is very difficult. And people take Kanban as another style of delivering projects. It's not. It just put everything visible across people. Our teams also have to be equipped to deliver any commit to production within 1 hour. This includes all kinds of testing, security vulnerability scans, your performance, your any scaling requirements you have. You have to try to build it up in the pipeline. It might not be possible in the initial stages, but we take it as a challenge. If anybody is not able to deliver something and commit to prod within an hour, we try to fix that first, because this is what the real fluency means. Like, you think the product owner comes to a developer and says, I want to try this change, can we make it see? I want that to go live in 1 hour. This is the speed at which you get the user feedback. You get the product owner also get the feedback how it's working on live on the production systems. Tests and automations, definitely the delivery pipeline will not work unless we have extensive set of tests and automations in place. Very, very less manual interventions we want. Heuristics would be there here and there, but we don't want that. This is one of my favorite. Release train is not the answer. We keep talking about dependencies. Non-blocking dependencies mean if you're not able to deliver your piece of code without asking others, can I deliver this? We are again in the wrong place. You should not plan for it. That smaller service or microservice, whatever the team is owning, they should be able to deliver themselves on their own. For that, we have multiple options like having dark releases or transfer abstraction, or anything you name, any other technique you name it. But we have to be so very self-contained that we should not be impacting others. Some amount of contract testing will also help, but there are many more safeguards in trying to de-link the dependencies. Don't create a blocking dependency and try to go together as one. Other ones is we talked. There is a flow conversation 2 sessions prior to this one, right? This is very important because a lot of developers are actually working on PR-based workflow. And whom did they actually send the PR to? The person sitting opposite to them. Or in a 3 or 4 member team, they're exchanging PRs and actually waiting for it. It won't work. PRs were designed for open source work, and using that in the regular development work, it's not working at all. Then core working windows. My teams, I have specifically mentioned 10 to 1 and 2 to 5, no meeting times. Any meetings happen on the either ends of it, or teams themselves come back and say what worked for them. If there are no code reviews, how do we actually work on it? We have combined stand-ups, and post the stand-ups, all the developers stay back. We do a collective code review of yesterday's commits, and then do refactoring then and there, or put the refactoring to-dos then and there, and then commit it back into the report, so that it is there as an artifact and people will have to address it. Else, we are not able to do a code review properly. Hiring the team members also, a lot of emphasis I've seen on DSA, but I felt that data structures and algorithm, maybe a small portion could be helpful, but that's not a top required skill at all. It's the communication. A lot of developers are not able to understand the value and intent behind a story or a feature that has to be delivered on the production. They are just like merely an order taker, like give me the Figma, give me exact input output, I will go and code it. That's not competitive programming. The DSA candidates who clear DSA, they are generally very competitive and they are asking for very specific set of input and output. It's not like collaboration between the product, business and tech. Team size also, I felt beyond 6, 7, it was getting very difficult to manage. The smaller the team size, maybe initial days we are a little slower or there is an illusion of slow progress, but we were able to go really very fast. It accelerated because the number of communication points are reduced. You don't need very detailed set of stories in Jira. You don't need a good amount of project management to come in and then explain to people how to go about their work. So I was able to get it at a smaller team size. Lightweight decision process. A lot of you have to do this, you have to do that. A lot of rule books actually keep coming in, but that's not helping the teams go ahead at all. One good example I would say is an architect in our project decided that we have to use Airflow for delivering an ETL work for our client. One of the developers, they went in, they explained, they figured out that Airflow is not going to work. They came back and then said, instead of Airflow, let's go with the data flow, because Airflow will have some rollback scenario. We don't want a rollback scenario. We will do without rollback. This will take us faster to production. Without this kind of a freedom to think, like if people are taking only orders, like, hey, do this. I have, as an architect, I have created this one. Without any questions, you have to go ahead and implement it. We are not going to get innovative solutions at all. People on the ground, they'll have to take the decision of what is good for implementing that solution. That's not happening in many of the cases. So experimental feedback also needs to be built in place. Rollouts always have to be staggered. You have to do canary release or a staggered release or a staged release, never ever a full big bang release. So you have to decouple deployments and releases. Try to take things to production as soon as possible. Toggle on and off for like maybe a demo account or a test user first. Analyze what's the behavior of other systems, because if it is a distributed system on a microservices world, the only real feedback how things are interacting with other systems are only after you go to production. No amount of testing in lower environments like staging or QA or gold environments like pre-prod environments, nothing is going to help you give the feedback. You'll have to take it to production, and even on the production, the functional there has to be some analytics for the functional bits of it. Plus, you need to have some interviews with your end users to see if it's working or not. And to our surprise, when we asked, like emailed a few users and asked them, do you like to be part of an interview? They said yes, and then they gave feedback. So it's not something like customers are always looking for, I'm paying you the money, you owe me. They are actually ready to give feedback to shape the product as well. Retrospectives. This is one of the key victim in some of the companies where people say that we don't have time to look back. We will have to run retrospectives. This is the only place we get feedback across different roles, from the ground, from the top, everywhere, to talk about what's working and what's not working, and then you'll be able to collectively improve experience in Fluency. Else, doesn't work. And this slide is only because if it's not there, I was told nobody will be coming to my talk because everybody's talking about AI. But my favorite thing about AI is it's like the grin without the face. Only people who have seen the grin with the face, they would be able to understand the grin without the face. And as of now, I'm talking in the context of AI for software development, not the other AI like Gen AI or so, but mostly very specifically to use it in software development. If you want to use it, you don't replace the developers. Remember COBOL. It was for common business oriented language, only for business people, and it never replaced the developers. And people with really very strong fundamentals in communication only they would be able to make use of AI very well better to expedite your development. Otherwise, no, AI is not going to replace any developers. It's not going to help with speeding up blindly. And that's all I had. If you have to do this, it's like the line learning to ride a bicycle. No matter how much I talk about it or showcase it, we will have to try these things, fall, get injured. Only then we will learn about it, how to make it work. Thanks a lot. I write about these topics very regularly at my blog. If you do get a chance, please visit and let me know the feedback. Thank you. Any questions?
Do we have any questions?
Pull request. Okay. So my observation was a lot of people think that we cannot commit onto a trunk and then develop from there. But the most fastest feedback is like developing on the trunk. It's like if you have 4 or 5 different people, you ask them to paint a scenery on the wall. You cannot give them 5 different sheets of paper, draw your bits, come back and put it on the wall. Everybody has to draw on the same wall. The same analogy applies there. PRs are actually slowing down development. Yeah.
First of all, thanks for the nice talk. About the interview process, right? You were mentioning DSA doesn't work and communication is more important. I'm just curious, like especially in the context of the last 5 years, what's been your experience of gauging good communication, both offline and online, in a person?
So for ThoughtWorks, a good amount of communication judgment comes from our pairing exercise we do. So when we do a pair programming exercise with the developers, we are able to see how they are able to understand the problem and extend it, right? And that's the typical development flow we have. So that has been a very good feedback. The other way when I had interviewed for clients, DSA scores did not correlate directly to performance on the job. And more people are inclined to solve DSA. The same exact expectation is at the work.
A lot of great insights, but I'm particularly curious about the collective code review one.
Yeah.
I'll just briefly share my experience with the collective code review. I've tried peer reviews that, peers will review each other's code. Unfortunately, it ended up being a power struggle sort of an exercise that created a dysfunctionality within the team. That, hey, so-and-so keeps commenting on my code. So-and-so just is, singling me out. So can you elaborate more on the collective code review and refactoring process a bit more?
Sure. So for collective code review to happen, there is some amount of baseline standards that are set in the team, right? Certain expectations that you will have to codify and keep it. For us, we have these things codified in our bootcamp process. Like when a developer joins ThoughtWorks, we have set some set of guidelines and expectations, right? And many of them, if we are able to put it to the machines to say like linting and all that, it captures them. What spills over is like your domain language, if it is reflected in the code. Are the tests being written right or not? Or are people struggling with something, or have they modeled the classes properly or not? These are the ones which will come in. And that we don't see a lot of friction. Where it comes is if you don't establish a baseline, then the most experienced person or the most influential person, that person becomes the baseline. So we'll have to establish a baseline first. What good means. All right. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Vinod.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.